Ryan is a chef whose life has completely fallen apart. Because of his gambling addiction, he owes a fortune to dangerous loan sharks back home. Desperate to escape them, he accepts an invitation from his old friend Jack and travels overseas. Jack is also a chef, but unlike Ryan, he has an extremely well-paid job, traveling around the world and preparing luxury dinners for the rich. His next dinner will be held at a private villa in this remote country. Jack arrives a week early to prepare the ingredients, giving him the chance to invite Ryan, whom he hasn't seen in years. Ryan comes for two reasons. First, to hide from his ruthless creditors, and second, to ask Jack for a job. One morning, Ryan is woken by a text message. It is another threat from the loan sharks. The same thing happens every day. Ryan decides to find Jack and finally ask for help, but the moment he turns the corner, he freezes. Jack, the friend who was laughing with him only yesterday, is hanging dead from a beam. Ryan stumbles backward in terror. He collapses against the wall, trying to process what he is seeing. Only days earlier, they had been staying in a luxury villa, drinking expensive wine, tasting exotic food, and flirting with beautiful women. Jack had also told him that the job paid an unbelievable amount of money. That thought suddenly changes everything. Ryan slowly sits up. His fear is replaced by determination. He knows he is an even better chef than Jack. Why not take Jack's place and claim the high-paying job for himself? Ryan quickly finds a large black bag and spreads it across the floor. Then he cuts the rope and lowers Jack's body onto it. Late that night, he ties weights to the body, drags it into the middle of the lake and lets it sink. Once the job is done, Ryan finally relaxes. He cooks himself a meal and waits for the dinner to begin. All he has to do is impress the wealthy guests with his cooking and secure the job. The following day, two people connected to the dinner arrive at the villa. Ryan gathers himself and nervously walks over to greet them. Then he realizes something important. They have never met Jack. Ryan immediately relaxes and begins carefully asking about the dinner. The two newcomers are there to make sure everything goes according to plan. The woman is Imogen. The man is Maurice. There will be 5 wealthy guests at the dinner. Ryan only needs to prepare 4 courses. As for the payment, the chef receives $300,000 for every dinner. Ryan can barely believe the number. He quickly promises to give the job everything he has. But when Imogen learns that he hasn't even prepared the ingredients, her expression turns cold. She takes Ryan to a nearby church. There, Ryan finally learns what they mean by ingredients. They are talking about living human beings. Ryan is horrified and immediately says he wants out, but Imogen and Maurice simply exchange a strange smile. Then Imogen asks him one question. Does he really think he still has a choice? Ryan's fantasy instantly collapses. With no way out, he reluctantly agrees to return with Maurice during morning mass and select the ingredients. Back at the villa, Ryan sits alone in the courtyard. Now he understands why Jack killed himself. This job is a living nightmare. Ryan fears the pressure will eventually destroy him too. He needs to escape before he ends up like Jack. At 2 in the morning, Ryan gets out of bed, grabs the car keys and tries to slip away, but he quickly realizes that Imogen and Maurice are watching him. His escape plan is over before it even begins. Imogen does not seem angry. Instead, she casually explains how the company operates. They hold their dinners in poor and isolated countries. Each guest pays $1.5 million to attend. On average, they consume 50 people every year. Another 25 are killed during the cleanup. The company makes around $100 million annually. They even donate 10% of the profits to charity. Imogen proudly claims that 75 deaths a year is a lower fatality rate than almost any other industry. Ryan's entire view of the world is shattered. This woman is describing something monstrous, as though it were ordinary business. Early the next morning, Ryan follows Maurice back to the church. People leave morning mass laughing and talking. None of them realize they are being examined like meat in a butcher's shop, and Ryan is the one expected to choose. Under pressure from Maurice, Ryan reluctantly points toward a mother and her daughter. Maurice immediately follows them in the car. The two women continue talking, completely unaware that death is following close behind. Maurice waits for them to reach somewhere quiet before making his move. But after they pass a fork in the road, the women suddenly disappear. Ryan and Maurice get out and search the area. They find nothing. Ryan quietly breathes a sigh of relief. Then, a mechanic approaches them and offers to help. Maurice says nothing. He simply turns and looks at Ryan. Ryan knows exactly what the look means. With no other option, he gives a reluctant nod. The mechanic will become their ingredient instead. Maurice puts an arm around the man and leads him toward the car. Then he hands him a thick stack of cash and asks him to inspect the underside. The mechanic happily agrees. He tells Ryan to start the engine while he crawls beneath the car. Maurice attaches a suppressor to his gun and kills him, but just as they prepare to leave, the mother and daughter return with a police officer. They had realized they were being followed and called the police. Maurice reacts instantly. He claims they are foreign investors inspecting the area for a new hotel project. The officer's attitude changes the moment he hears they might bring money and jobs to the town. He barely questions them before allowing them to leave. The dinner is only hours away. There is no time to find another victim. They will have to make do with one body. The group returns to a hidden processing room beneath the villa. This is where the company prepares its special ingredients. Ryan is sickened by the brutal process in front of him, but he forces himself to remain calm and help. By the time it is over, his clothes are covered in blood. As a professional chef, this is the first time he has ever prepared human flesh. The psychological pressure becomes unbearable. Ryan quietly breaks down in tears while taking a shower. Then he packs his bags and tries to escape again, but he is so nervous that he loses control of the car and hits a worker beside the road. The noise quickly attracts Maurice. Ryan panics and claims the handbrake failed, causing the car to roll forward by accident. Maurice does not investigate further, but he gives Ryan a serious warning. He should never try to escape again. No matter where Ryan goes, the company's wealthy clients will find him. Nobody has ever successfully walked away. Ryan finally accepts that escape is impossible. Imogen tells him the guests will arrive soon and asks for the final menu. Ryan lists the 4 dishes. Before long, the wealthy diners begin arriving at the villa. But just as dinner is about to begin, 2 police officers appear at the door. One of them identifies himself as Detective Ruiz. The missing mechanic is his nephew. According to his officers, Ryan and Maurice were seen near the repair shop that morning. Ruiz has come to ask questions. Imogen is used to dealing with unexpected problems. She calmly explains that the guests are internationally known business figures. They have gathered to discuss a major investment project. She asks the officers to return after dinner, but Detective Ruiz refuses. He insists on speaking directly to the 2 foreigners who were seen in town. With no other option, Imogen takes him to the kitchen. Ruiz asks Ryan whether he saw his nephew that morning. Ryan repeats the story they prepared. He says he was only driving Maurice through town to inspect possible investment sites. He never met any mechanic. Then the officers notice the rich aroma coming from a pot in the kitchen. They ask what kind of meat Ryan is cooking. Ryan claims it is a special stock made from pork, lamb, and chicken. It is a unique flavor that cannot be found locally. Imogen immediately signals a server to bring the officers a bowl. Neither officer has ever tasted anything so delicious. They repeatedly praise Ryan's cooking. Afterward, Ruiz questions Maurice. Maurice gives exactly the same answers as Ryan. With their stories matching, the police have no immediate reason to detain them. But as Ruiz prepares to leave, one of the wealthy guests invites him to stay for dinner. The guests know perfectly well that the meat on the table came from Ruiz's missing nephew, yet none of them seem disturbed. To them, the danger only makes the meal more exciting. Then a young woman suddenly enters the villa. She introduces herself as Jack's girlfriend, Alice. Imogen initially tries to send her away, but Alice says she only needs to use the bathroom and will leave immediately. Imogen reluctantly brings her to Ryan and signals for him to get rid of her quickly. Once inside, Alice notices everyone is calling Ryan Jack. Confused, she asks what is going on. Ryan quickly claims that Jack had to return to England because of an emergency. He is only filling in for him. Then, he urges Alice to leave, but she refuses. She casually picks up a piece of food and puts it in her mouth. Ryan immediately snatches the plate away. Alice has no idea she has just tasted human flesh. She then notices Ryan stirring a thick, dark mixture. She asks whether it is blood. Ryan bluntly admits that it is. He tells her he is preparing the most important dinner of his life and begs her to leave. But Alice is still worried about Jack. Before leaving, she hugs Ryan. That is when she sees Jack's watch on his wrist. Jack had won the watch from Ryan and valued it deeply. He never took it off. Ryan notices the change in Alice's expression. He claims Jack returned the watch as thanks for taking over the dinner. Alice does not believe him. Terrified, she runs from the villa. But when she starts her car, the engine immediately dies. As she wonders who to call, Maurice knocks on her window. Meanwhile, the dinner continues. Detective Ruiz has completely settled in. He eats his own nephew's flesh and marvels at the incredible flavor. Wanting to know what kind of meat it is, he asks the server to bring out the chef. When Ryan enters the dining room, the guests greet him with loud applause. On his way back to the kitchen, Ryan runs into Maurice. Maurice says Alice's car has broken down and he is going to drive her back to her hotel. Ryan sees Alice sitting on the steps outside. At the time, he thinks nothing of it. Back in the kitchen, Ryan takes a tongue from the refrigerator, but the inside is covered in sores. Imogen tells him to hide the problem with seasoning. Ryan says that is impossible. The dish is supposed to be sashimi. There is nowhere to hide the damage. While they are trying to find a solution, Alice suddenly appears again. She says she can simply take a taxi. Not long afterward, Alice's tongue is served to the guests. Detective Ruiz had already said he would not eat the tongue sashimi, so Ryan serves him pear sorbet instead. He slips a small note beneath the detective's spoon. After reading it, Ruiz secretly meets Ryan in the bathroom. Ryan tells him the truth. Ruiz is stunned. Then the food in his stomach suddenly turns against him. He rushes to vomit. When he returns to the dining room, Ruiz claims he is not used to eating such rich food. His stomach feels unwell, so he needs to go home. But after pretending to leave, he sneaks back into the villa. Ryan leads him down to the basement. There, Ruiz finds Alice's body. Ryan then pulls the mechanic's brain from a metal container. Only then does Ruiz fully believe him. Ruiz tries to call for backup, but he remembers that his phone is still charging in the kitchen. Ryan offers him his own phone. Ruiz says he needs to call Officer Gallo, but he cannot remember Gallo's number. Ryan suggests calling the local emergency line. Ruiz explains that the dispatcher will simply contact Gallo anyway. Ryan tells Ruiz to remain in the basement while he goes upstairs to retrieve the phone. Left alone, Ruiz begins collecting evidence. Then he hears a noise behind him. He turns and asks whether Ryan has returned. Instead, Maurice attacks him. When Ryan comes back, Detective Ruiz is dead. Maurice does not suspect Ryan of betrayal. He assumes Ruiz discovered the basement on his own. Ryan and Maurice finish processing the remaining evidence and dump everything into the lake. Imogen then logs into Ruiz's email account. Pretending to be the detective, she sends a message to his sister. The email claims that her son was lured to Japan by a pyramid scheme. Ruiz has supposedly boarded a flight to Japan and will not return until he finds him. Early the next morning, Imogen gives Ryan more news. She has received countless emails about his extraordinary cooking. His name is already spreading among the world's richest people. Celebrities and billionaires are competing to book his next dinner. She tells Ryan to prepare himself. He is about to become extremely wealthy. The remaining payment of £250,000 has already been transferred into his account. Maurice then implants a tracking chip in Ryan's neck. Their next dinner will be held in Africa the following month. Until then, Ryan is free to travel wherever he likes. His first destination is London, but the man boarding that flight is no longer Ryan. From now on, he is Jack.